So we're joined for our final guest of the 2025-2026 school year. My friend, all the way from London over there in the beautiful country of the United Kingdom, Bola Sol, writer of Your Money Now and what's the Fix Your Finances.
Yeah.
Unbelievable platform. Did I say the titles of your books wrong? And I've gone over it a
Um,
hundred times.
it's your money life.
Your Money Life. That's right. Your Money Life and Fix Your Finances Now. Really insightful stuff. Just all over social media, all over television, and so many podcasts. Financial expert. We thank you so much for taking some time for us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So obviously we want to talk about all your latest business moves and how it's just reached such a broad platform. But just give us a little background. You're the daughter of Nigerian immigrants who came to the United Kingdom, and you're so proud of, and you should be proud of your Nigerian heritage, and it's such a great part of not only your life but of your business. And you went to the University of Essex, one of the top business universities there in the UK.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Thank you. So I studied mathematics and finance at university, and funny enough, I had my own dreams. I wanted to model, and my parents were like, "That's great." My parents were always of the ilk that look, you can have your dreams, but you have to have your education first. And then you can go and make your dreams work. But just always have that. And I'm really glad that they said that to me because it's kind of still what pays me today. Um, still is what keeps me going. And I was always very good at numbers. My mum actually wanted me to be a pharmacist, but I just found numbers were easier for me. I understood it better.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a little bit about me. I worked in the finance space for 10 years before becoming self-employed. I became a qualified financial advisor in England and Wales in 2023. And it's I don't want to say, oh, it's just been one thing after another because it took a long time for my own career to take off. There's a career that your education hands you, and then there's one that you kind of hand yourself through your
There you
effort.
go.
And that was really hard because I was in my 20s and I was working in finance, which isn't an easy industry. And then I was going home to work on my own thing, and that was really hard. Kind of almost, I don't know what to use as an analogy. I don't know if you've got those Oh, it's almost like when you're trying to hit that punching ball and you're trying to get the high jackpot. That's the best way to put it. It was like you keep hitting it, or you see people hitting it, and then one day someone hits it and it goes boom, jackpot. So for the first kind of 5 years talking about money online, it wasn't very popular because I mean the economy was okay. It was the 2010s, and I got in halfway 2015. Nobody was, when the economy's good, everyone's just like, sure, why should we listen to you? We're all good, we're all in good jobs. And then a lot of things started hitting the fan from 2020, and I got a lot of attention after that.
Yeah, and that's so cool. And we'll definitely talk about, that led to your social media platform, which is, if you combine all your platforms, over 100,000 followers all over the world, which is impressive in itself. But it's really cool. You were working in finance, which again, great career. It's a tough career, but it can be very lucrative. We've had several of our students here become accountants. But while you were working as a corporate employee, you kind of noticed a market that wasn't being hit, and that kind of led you to start this business. So, your first business. So, talk about how you met that need of financial education in places where it really wasn't.
Yeah, so one of the things I talk about in my second book, Your Money Life, is what's the best way to say this? Talking to my friend who didn't study finance about money, and then kind of maybe her about talking about bonds and different ways we were going to make money, and her not understanding, kind of having a confused look on her face, and me just realizing that, okay, I really need to have a conversation because there's a difference between what you are taught to work for other companies and what you're taught for yourself. There's many people who can work in banks for ages and not know how to manage their own money. And I'm not talking about pay your own bills. I'm talking about make your money grow. And so I had to kind of do my own research because I wasn't taught about it at school. Remember, I've been at school, you're taught to work. You're taught
Yeah,
how to work for corporations. You're not
there you go.
necessarily how to work for yourself or make money for yourself. You don't even have to work for yourself, but how to make money for yourself. So it was a whole new education where I was learning online and saying, okay, this is that, and this is how this works, and this is how you build. And yeah, a lot of people came, they listened, and I remember it was very small. It wasn't the most exciting topic because many people, what's the best way to put this? Fashion and beauty were in then, and money wasn't cool. The internet wasn't as global as it is now, even in terms of industry with
Yeah.
wellness and everything else you could imagine. Before it was quite black and white. There's beauty, there's fashion. We don't really know the rest. So I kind of had to find a way to make it interesting. But yeah.
Yeah, and it's cool because I mean, I guess it's not cool, but it's interesting because in the UK, you've had the same systemic issues with black women that we've had in the United States and Canada and other places, and you noticed a lack of access. And you wanted everybody to have the same access to make your money grow. And look, it's like you just said, the education and access and opportunities were not there, and you saw that that could be tapped. And look, you said it wasn't popular, but it has taken off. You are on television interviews. You're in on. You've been featured in Forbes magazine, all types of American and European broadcast, and it all just came from you taking that leap and saying, "Hey, we need to be a part of this too."
Yeah, yeah, exactly that. And it's I'm so grateful to have been featured there and for it to be about something else. I think women don't get a lot of front when it comes to certain things because it's not deemed as sexy, it's
There you go.
finance. It's not I think we may be known for other things, but finance may not always be it. So I'm very grateful that that's the thing that I have been able to be a frontier for.
Yeah, and it's cool because, like you said, and I'll be the first person to agree with you on this. So many kids think, oh, money's stupid. I'm never going to need to know this stuff. But one thing you've done such an incredible job of is on your content, like almost 50,000 followers on Instagram. You've made content that is not only valuable, but it's relatable. And you try to reach people and say, hey, I know you're 18, 19, 20 years old. Here's how this can help you. And on top of that, something that I know they get so, I've been talking about this all year, and I know they're sick of me talking about it. You have the ability to go in a room, a space, and control a room. You can walk in a room and introduce yourself and say, "Hey, I'm Bola Sol. I'm a financial person," and you can speak to thousands of people, and you are an unbelievable communicator. Now, can everybody do that? No. But in order to be a successful entrepreneur of any type, you've got to have those skills to be able to sell, present, and speak in a way that make people want to do business with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's something that I take for granted, but I've had to learn over time. I used to be very nervous to speak, that the outcome and the result was more important than how I felt. And that's the thing that I would lead with. And I'm thinking, man, I want to leave so much more of a better impact. And I can only do that if I'm confident and if I'm what's the word? I've taken all the skills that I've learned from different things that maybe aren't the frontier of my job. I'm talking English, having a good drama teacher and being like, and I'm like, I know some of you don't care. You're sitting in your seats, you're shrugging your shoulders. You think, why does this matter? I said, it's gonna matter when you're 18 and they offer you credit cards and you want to feel amazing and you're spending on them. Then you're like, how did I get into this? I said, I'm here to stop you from making those mistakes. So I think it's really taken time and practice and also the understanding that my purpose is vital.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that because that was what I wanted to segue into next because obviously the United Kingdom, United States, Canada, all the places that you've had footprints, they have different retirement things, they have different tax things. But at the end of the day, when I was looking at a lot of your stuff, at the end of the day, the message for the most part is the same. Young people fall into similar financial traps in every country. And
Yeah.
it's a lot of the same things. And even if kids aren't interested in being an entrepreneur, I think it's important just to hit on a few things that they're going to face. Because I'm glad you mentioned when you go to a university campus, they're going to hit you with every credit card application you could possibly imagine. You can't even go, and in your case, you can't even go to a football game. I'm a big Liverpool supporter, so I couldn't even go to Anfield and watch a game without somebody trying to give me a dang credit card.
Yeah.
You go to the store and they'll say, "Well, you can get." I was actually in Memphis. I was in Memphis, Tennessee on Saturday, and I'm just walking through the store, and they were like, "Well, if you apply for this Bass Pro Shop credit card, you'll get X amount off, and you get this free ticket to the top of the." I'm just like, "Come on now, dude." I mean, but that is such an easy trap to fall into, and you don't even have to be a financial expert to know that can not only hurt you with your credit, that can hurt you becoming an entrepreneur, getting a business loan.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, there's a difference between your personal credit and your, how do I say, your personal credit and your business credit. But I just think we have to be careful of what we're offered and why. And because it's so easy these days, we can't always tell that we're being sold to. I called the other day because I have an issue with my washing machine, and they were like, "Oh, you don't have insurance for this. Can I ask why?" And I said, "Because I prioritize my money." Like you have to stand up for yourself financially. Why? Because the whole point of living in the West, and I have to say this, is because they know many of us have access to income that other parts of the world do not,
There
right?
you
When
go.
we think about emerging markets, whether it's certain parts of Africa or certain parts of Asia, they know that they don't have the same systems that we have in the West, whether that's the US, the UK, Canada, and so on, where, oh, most of us work, we can travel, we have a lot of privileges that I think I used to take for granted. And now what we have to do is with those privileges and the money that comes with it, we have to protect it. We can't always be so quick to be like, yeah, I did this. Yeah, I took out a credit card. I took out a car on loan. I did that. Because guess what? It leaves all of the companies richer and it leaves you continuing to work and work and work late into your retirement. So you do have to build some financial muscle and discipline to say, do you know what? I'm good. Even if you are in a position where you can afford it, it doesn't mean you should. And that's so important. And you're going to need that because, especially in the world of social media, it's going to be very easy to be like, I can get that if I want it. And sometimes it's not about always saying yes, but having that delayed gratification.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned the social media thing because in a way, I think social media has hurt entrepreneurship. And I've told this joke 100 times is that I'm a huge fan of Jasmine Sullivan, but her song kind of upsets me when she goes, "I'm going to open a business, move to Atlanta, and be rich." And I'm like, it doesn't work like that. Just because you saw the TikTok post about the boss babe opening her first office, there's a lot of
Yeah.
things behind the scenes and a lot of, and I'm sure you see it all the time. A big trap that young entrepreneurs fall into is they don't pay attention to the money side.
No, they don't. And many people, so this is going to be a bit random, but obviously not random because the movie's just come out, Michael Jackson, right?
Yeah.
Michael. And I just researched why was he in debt um at the time of his passing, and it was because he was still spending as if to say he was still making the same amount of money as he was during Thriller and so on. And it teaches me the importance of we have to know when to claw back, um, just for any reason, because we don't want to be in debt. We don't always want to be scrambling and things like that. And I think that there's many people who they don't think about that and they think about it later. And sometimes I have to have frank conversations with myself. I do financial audits where I'm like, hey, it's time to claw back, you know. Um, I've been in a place I haven't been I've been a bit unwell, so there was a time I was spending a lot on takeaway, and then I looked at my bill and I was like, damn, I gotta get better and get up. So excuse my language. I have to get up and look after myself because I can't keep spending this amount of money. There are so many times where the only person who is going to check in with you is you because finances are so intimate. Everybody cannot see what is going on. So you have to be honest with yourself and see what's going on and say, hey, this is the position I'm in. Now's not a good time. And what that means, especially for kids growing up, is you do have to be the one at times maybe to say, I can't go on that holiday right now. And remember that everything is seasons. Because when I wanted to buy my first property, no, not coming on that holiday, not doing that, and so on and so on. And sure, you might be the boring friend for a while, but then you can become the secure friend who has maybe their first asset if they're renting it out on the way and so on. So I just think you've got to understand in every season it can't be full of fun if it means that your finances are on the line in the wrong way.
Awesome. Now, before I get to their questions, and I know we've mentioned it, so many kids say, well, I want to be an influencer. I'm going to be on TikTok and I'm going to be on YouTube, and that's all I'm going to do. Well, as somebody that has monetized social media and has been very successful on social media, what are some things that you think people really don't understand goes into creating content that goes on to be monetized? Because it's not just let me wake up, flip the camera on, and start recording myself.
Yeah, I think first of all, the first thing I'll say is it can take a while. For
Oh,
me,
yeah.
it took 5 years, and obviously the internet has developed a lot since I started. So in the 5 years, maybe I made about £2,000. But in terms of, oh, I'm gonna make money, you have to ask yourself, what are you willing to do for attention to make money? Because things are constantly changing. So some people can talk about, I made this amount of money, and that's great, and it grabs lots of attention. But one of the things some influencers don't realize, which I've been in the game long enough now to see, is the money that you make in a month or a year may completely change. Somebody may be watching your content and decide, I want to do exactly what you're doing. And guess what? They may have less responsibilities and they may be willing to do more things. Let's say you're not willing to do cartwheels and they're willing to do cartwheels, and then out of nowhere, your influence drops, theirs rises. It's a constant economic game of supply and demand, and you don't get to choose. The audience chooses. And through the audience choosing, the business and the clients choose. It is a business, so you have to find a way to diversify. It's no longer just about brand deals and waiting on those. Because when I first started, I was getting brand deals left, right, and center. It was fantastic. I was even getting a lot of brand deals last year. Whereas this year, the competition's changed. Almost anyone's talking about money right now. You don't even, well, you should be qualified, but some people aren't qualified, but they're talking about it. They're making money. I know someone who has no background in money who's become an influencer who talks about it and is very respectful of the finance culture who is making, £50,000 a month. But she'll
That's
talk
like
about
that's like 80,000 American dollars. God, that's a lot of money.
exactly. It's a lot of money, but then it's like it's great because she's young and she's like 25. But one of the things that people do is they start telling themselves, man, imagine if I make £50,000 a month. No, when I first started making monumental amounts a month, I bought a house because I said to myself, if this doesn't last forever, I want to leave here with an asset. And that's what I'm continuing to do because at times people forget that the game changes. The same goes for your favorite musician. Back in the day, they made money from CD sales, then streaming came along. Now they all have to tour. And then I'm sure things are going to change again. The same thing will go for influencing. It's not as easy as that. You also need to have a good accountant. You need to think about taxes and all of these things. And it requires some forward thought, it requires some discipline. So I just want to say that. And remember, being an influencer of any kind, it's a business in itself. I have people that work with me. I have a social media manager. I've got someone in operations and finance because I can't see everything all the time, but I need to be on top of it. So just understand that it's very multifaceted. It is a business, yes, and it is going to continue to boom, but you have to put out a lot of content. Every time when I'm feeling a bit tired, for example, I'm like, man, have I put out content? What's the agenda today? What's going on? It is a full job. So please don't just think, oh, it's all great online. That's just the one side you see. And it's even taken my professional brothers and sisters, because I'm the youngest of six, for that some of them to try it and be like, man, this is hard, and them to really respect what I do. Not that they didn't respect it before, but the internet used to be a bit of a place where it was just like, oh, is this a real
Oh
job? And
yeah,
now people are like, oh no, it really is.
that's awesome. And I didn't know you were the youngest of six. That's really cool. But I do have some questions here. I like this first one. This is Raheem Cole. He's in ninth grade. And he asked, what is one habit that you think people should start today to improve their finances?
Oh, I would say reading up on investing. And if you can get like a junior investment account, go ahead. It might mean that a parent or guardian has to kind of sign off and overlook it till you get to a certain age. But I would say doing that because the younger you start, the better.
Or go to Amazon and buy one of your books. And then and you mentioned about the audience you're reaching. I tell these kids all the time, find the positive people on because social media is not going anywhere. Well, I think we all know that, but find the positive people. Find people like you that get. I mean, I'm a follower, and I've learned a few things from you. So. Just the little things. Everybody can't be an expert, but you can put positive things into your life, and then that can inspire you to do something else positive and become wealthy yourself. I like
Exactly.
this one. This is Kaylin Bullock. She's in ninth grade, 10th grade, ninth grade, ninth. She had to correct me. But she asked, why do you think financial literacy is so important, especially for women today?
Ah, because women are working now. Back in the day, it was only after World War II that women were told to go and work. And then when men came back from war, they then had to work again and do labor. It's a completely different time. It's not just the job of your husband or your father anymore, which was the case for ages. Now it's about you
Yep.
because you may choose to get married, you may choose not to, but it's also important that you have a sense of independence. Now that we have access to bank accounts, women have a lot more autonomy and independence than
Yeah.
than we did 100 years ago. And you want to be in charge of your position because you don't want to be at anyone's economic mercy.
Absolutely. And look, and like we mentioned at the beginning, the UK had the same issues the United States did. There was not access to women, there was not access to minorities. So it's really been a game of catch up to get everybody the same access, and your business has done such a great job of that.
Thank you.
All right, I got time for two more. This is Zayden Mann. He's in ninth grade, and he asks, looking back on your past and everything that you've done, what is one thing you wish you would have known before you became an entrepreneur?
Oh, I think I wish I would have known that there would have been, I wish I would have diversified quicker in order
Yep.
to continue to make money. Because the thing that was, or yeah, I'd say just a year ago, a few months ago, may completely change. And you have to continue to think on your feet. Because something I use as my get out of jail card is, oh, I'm going to go back into work. But sometimes entrepreneur life calls you. And that's not always the fast fix isn't just secure money. Obviously you should because you need to pay your bills, but you have to think, how can I diversify? And that's something that I wish I did earlier.
Love it. I got one more. This is Albrianna Towner. She's in 11th grade. And she asked, what's the biggest challenge you faced as a black female business owner in the UK?
Oh, that's such a good question. Thank you for that. Biggest challenge I faced. I think honestly, feeling like I'm I have to work twice as hard for half as much. I am for in the UK. Black people make up 4.1% of the UK. Yeah, I
Wow. And
I
see,
feel
and I guess because London is such a diverse city, you don't think about
exactly.
the other areas, but that's such a great, I didn't think about that. Wow. And I've even been there and I never noticed that.
Yeah, a big part of that 4% is in London, so it looks diverse, but it's not. And what that just means is that there could be a white woman who talks about finance who has double my followers, and there's nothing I can do about it. And some of my friends who actually do business in America say, if you go to America, you'd kill it, you'd be a millionaire by now. And I'm like, I know, you know. So it's I think it's tough, but I'm still so grateful to God for where I am, the fact that I can work for myself because many people are not in that position.
Yeah, and it's so cool, and I know you're still located in London, but you've already got a footprint in the United States. A couple of our mutual connections have said, "Look, you finally gave us you're our first American, my first time I've ever spoken in the United States." And I looked it up about you, and I'm like, "Man, she's been all over the place in the United States and Canada." So already doing a great job of that. So we're almost out of time, and we thank you so much for taking some time for us, and just such a great way to end the year. But a couple of things before we go. Bolasol.co.uk is the website for all your stuff there. Your books, How to Save It, Fix Your Finances and Your Money Life, How to Afford the Future You Want. Both for sale on Amazon and everywhere books are sold. On Instagram, Bola underscore Soul. Great content. And then on TikTok, I believe it's the same, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's
So
just
is
Bola
there any?
Sol, so no underscore.
Oh, on TikTok is just Bola Soul, no underscore.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's all the places that can find you. And like I said, great content. I've enjoyed watching it and really just gives just the little things to help make a big difference in your finance. But the last thing before we go, obviously you've being the child of an immigrant in the UK, we have a lot of immigrants in our school district. We have a lot of first generation Americans that maybe don't see the representation that they would like in the entrepreneurial space. So no matter where you come from, you're a perfect example of how you can be successful working for yourself. So as these kids start making decisions through secondary school and making decisions for university, why do they need to know that they are so needed to be part of the entrepreneurial culture of, uh, of our society?
Yeah, because we are an ecosystem within ourselves and we all provide very different things. And you just need to know that there is a space for your particular niche, your particular talent. There are so many times that I just think, oh, I've written two books. I've spoken about some podcasts. Surely I've tapped out my whole market. Then I speak to somebody else and I'm like back at square one. And my point is there is a need for the talent, for the gap in education that you have. And if you haven't found it, then it just means that you should keep looking. And once you fill it in one place, go to another place, keep going to another place. You will find it. But please know that there is a real need for what you do.
Awesome. Well, again, we thank you so much for spending your evening with us over there in the UK. Such a great way to end the school year, and it's just such a pleasure to have such an amazing guest to close out our series this year. But my friend, Bola Soul, all the way across the Atlantic in London, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I talk to you soon, my friend.
Take care. Bye.